How is everybody?
Good with the sunshine.
Good.
Kind of delirious with all that's going on with this weird election.
I know,
It really
everything
is.
crossed. Everything crossed.
We just don't know, do we? It's just
It is
so bizarre.
It's the most extraordinary election I think America has ever seen. But then if you've got a Donald Trump, it's going to be the most extraordinary and quite frightening.
He's acting like a child, though, isn't he? Like, you know, he's not getting his own way, so he's stamping his feet and blaming everyone else.
It's like a 2-year-old having a tantrum in Tesco's.
Exactly.
On the floor.
It is.
Shouting.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah, there is actually a video. You have to see it. I can't remember whether it's on Messenger, Facebook. It's on one of the platforms. There's a video of these little children sitting in school, and they're only tinies. And on one of the seats is the back of Donald Trump. And Biden comes in and says, you have to go now. And he has this screaming fit lying on it, you know, like your kids do, lying on his back going, you're not taking me. I don't want to leave. Please, I don't want to leave. And they're dragging him out and going, he's going, no, I want to stay here. I don't want to leave the White House. It's the most ridiculous thing. You have to find it. It's very, very funny.
Oh, we need these light things in this crazy time to help us get through, don't we? So
we do.
Exactly.
And what about Melania? She looks really happy. Have you noticed? Suddenly. She walked in looking really, very perky. For
what on earth must she be saying? What did I marry?
Relieved that she's going to be out of here soon.
Yeah, out of that White House.
So, Dee, we've got some lovely things, haven't we?
We have. And honestly, what's really exciting is that Ulster Weavers, a fabulous company and a great new website that they've got, Ulster Weavers, have sent us some products, and they are actually sponsoring us. So we're working in partnership with them. So we're going to start today talking about some of their fabulous gifts. And do you know?
Can I start?
Yes, please.
Because I have to talk to you. These are the bath salts, which I may show you are empty because I've used them and they are sensation. Effervescent, joyous, the fragrance is wonderful. I didn't want to get out of the bath and I turned into a shriveled prune, but no change there.
Nonsense.
I was about to say that.
How dare you, Sherry?
I've got this, and this is so good for me because I can hang it up in my wardrobe and make all my clothes smell lovely. It's absolutely gorgeous. I don't think I've ever had something like this to hang up in my wardrobe, so it's really quite exciting. And
what is it? Sorry, what is it?
It's a thing that you hang up in your wardrobe. It's called
that's what I'm asking. What is it?
No, but it's a what's it thing? You know, you just hang
Scented
them.
A fragrance sachet.
Yes, thank you, Sherry.
That's correct.
Absolutely.
It's a fragrance sachet because Debbie just calls it a thing that you hang up in your wardrobe.
In your wardrobe.
No, I think they're brilliant because, you know, it's like it's quality stuff and it's not expensive and they have so much to choose from. Now this, and then you say another face mask? No, it isn't, because it's actually made of linen, which is really good for your skin. It's the first one I've seen made of linen. Absolutely beautiful, lovely quality, and you can actually breathe in it. And if you have like skin that's sensitive, you don't get breakouts. It protects your skin. So I think this is a real find.
Can I just say something about that? Isn't it weird the world we're in, and we're talking about one of the most important things, face masks? Now, who'd have thought that we would have to say, and this is a face mask, and do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a very extraordinary world, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's
part of our everyday living.
Everyday life.
Now. It's really quite weird. And the other thing is, I don't know if this has happened to you. Ever since the lockdown started, I hardly ever use a handbag anymore.
No, I don't.
Isn't that strange?
Yeah.
Yes.
I just go out with a purse and a face mask.
I have one of those, what they call in America, fanny packs, if I can use that phrase.
Oh, that's
here she goes again.
Or bum bags.
Bum bag, thank you. Well, either it's a fanny pack or it's a bum bag, one or the other.
Yeah.
And, you know, and literally, when I think I have to use a handbag, I think, what do I put that in? What do we
want a handbag for?
True.
No, and the weight of it,
and
your shoulder and the whole thing. You think, never again.
But Dee, where do we find Ulster Weavers?
Ulster Weavers is actually ulsterweavers.com is their website. They actually are in Northern Ireland, but I think they're extraordinarily great.
So if you go to amazingwonderbirds.com, we have a special code that you can get some discount on. That's Wonderbirds20.
And they are doing a Christmas range, which we'll be talking about soon. But really spend time on their website, because you will find some real gems. So guys, you know, I know that you're really brilliant at walking, Sherry. You spend, you know, you go for long walks with your doggies.
Days.
And you're really brilliant at that. And you know what? I've been really bad at the exercise regime. So I've decided the new lockdown, I'm going to do yoga, because, you know, there's a lot of really good websites now for doing yoga at home.
Debbie's gone to sleep.
And that is because
oh my God, I can't bear everything. It's so yoga is so
mind,
relaxing.
body and soul is very important.
Can I
Oh,
tell you
Sherry's
about my
got us.
mind, body and soul? Is Jane Fonda, darling, doing the Grapevine. That's where I'm happy. All her stuff is still online, and I can just about manage that.
Did you say grape, darling? Is that like grape as in Wines with Stories?
No, Wines with Stories is a given. The Grapevine is always there, dear. That we don't need to mention. But the dance, the Grapevine, dear. And that's what I do every morning with Jane. And sometimes I do a crazy 1990s share workout. Hysterical. But again, it's dancing. It's not some regime. It's just dancing, and you feel good because you're moving, and it doesn't have to be.
Well,
also,
I just keep my chihuahua fit and stretched, and
This is a family show, Sherry.
no, my chihuahua.
don't mention your bush again, darling. We've been through that before. And I remember
I have to keep my chihuahua exercise.
Oh,
so
goodness.
You're very jealous. You're just jealous women. That's the problem.
We are jealous women. Anyway, actually, we've got a man coming into the nest. We have a real, live, breathing, I think he's breathing.
Man.
Mark Williams Thomas, who is an investigative journalist and he used to be a policeman, is coming to see us. And I think he's crashing into the nest now. Mark, are you there?
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Mark. Welcome to our nest.
Thank you very much. Pleasure. And thank you for having me.
Oh, yes, we're so interested in what you do, Mark. I mean, you don't know, I've been friends for many, many years, but you know, I've always been a big fan of your work. But what I wanted to know is the very first case that you came into prominence, that we saw you as the public, was the Jimmy Savile story. Can you tell us how that came about and how long it took you to get it together, really?
So I was travelling over to Interpol to do a report for BBC Newsnight. And on the way back, the producer, Marion Jones, said to me, have you ever heard anything about Jimmy Savile being a sex offender? And I went, no. I said, he's a weird bloke. But I said, I'd never heard anything of him being a sex offender. And he said, well, there's quite a lot over the internet and there's a lot of chat. And a relative of mine was involved at the care home where he used to visit and abuse some of the young girls there. So I said, well, I'd be really interested to do something, come back to me. So I left it probably, I don't know, a couple of weeks, maybe slightly longer than that. And then he came back to me and said, look, we're going to do a program, but we're not quite sure what it's going to look like. And within days of that, Jimmy Savile dies. And then he comes back to me and says, we're now going to do something. Would you be interested to help us? And I said, yeah, no problems at all. He said, well, we'd very much like to talk to you in regards to your work around high-profile sex offenders. And I started off the Jonathan King investigation when I was in Surrey Police. And they then started to look into, being Newsnight, started to look into Jimmy Savile. And quite quickly, they realised, or they went down the route to see whether or not Savile had been, or the police had failed to investigate Savile properly. But there wasn't really a story there. The story wasn't that the police had failed to investigate him. The story was quite simply that Jimmy Savile was a sex offender. But the editor of Newsnight just couldn't see that, and many other senior members of the BBC just couldn't see that that was the story. So ultimately, they then decided, well, we're not going to run it because we can't see a failing by the police. So I met with ITV and execs and lawyers and said, look, I think there's a runner here. And they said, you know, this is a big risk thing, but we can see what you're saying. Let's give it a go. And we got 5 victims that we knew about at that stage. It was then Peter Fincham, who was boss of ITV, and he said, I think this is really powerful. And then we went to see, we wanted to show to somebody who the interviews, 2 of the interviews, who kind of had a really strong standing. And I know Esther Ransom very well. I phoned Esther up and said, look, can I come and show you some video? I'm not going to talk to you about them before. I just want you to watch them and give me a view. And we took it to her and we set up the cameras and we filmed her. And it was quite a, it's a moment that will go down in history in terms of her response to that. And she said, I believe them. I absolutely believe them. And we knew at that point we had something very special. I mean, we knew it before, albeit there was a lot of pressure. I remember my mum said to me, Mark, do you really think you should be doing this? He's a very big person to take on. And, I do worry about you in a normal mum way. And I said, well,
Yeah.
you know me, Mark, I nothing stops me from doing something if I want to do it. I'm a bit like
Mark, you know what really disturbs me, and it still disturbs me, and I know it's gone, and we shouldn't even think about it now, but my brother as a young boy was a DJ with him, and I've said to him in the past, did you know? And he said, look, we all knew what he was. Not a sex offender, I have to say, but he said, we all know he was weird. We kept all the girls away from him. But I said, why did no one ever say anything? And that's what I'll never understand. Was it because he raised so much money for charity? That, and everybody was on his side at that time because of Great Ormond Street Hospital. Why would nobody come forward and say until then? I don't get it.
Well, there's a number of reasons for that. So you've got different types of people that obviously he came in contact with. So he came in contact with people who were in everyday work, working around him, not for him, but around him. So you had nurses that came into contact with him through the many hospitals that he worked at. And a number of them raised concerns about him over the years. Those went through to senior managers. And as a result of that, very often what they would simply say is, don't have any contact with him. You mustn't be alone with him. So they gave some guidance, certainly in terms of Stoke Mandeville. There was some guidance given to nurses not to spend time alone with him. You then have those second level, which is the middle managers who were responsible for working with Savile and making his many programs with him. And a number of them did have concerns and felt quite uncomfortable. Sometimes they would raise that with their senior managers, and sometimes they would just simply get on with it and just try and avoid as much as possible to not allow him having direct contact with children. And then you had obviously the third people, who are the people that could really do something about it, which was the senior management within the television setups and organizations. Those are the people who I hold absolutely responsible, because those are the people that could do something about it. It's almost impossible to say to a nurse, you've got to do something about this, because people wouldn't believe you. That thing, the mindsets change, people's attitudes change. No one was going to believe you when you say that. And in fact,
I know.
I wanted to ask you about your family and about how this extraordinary journey that is so supportive of women and the abuse that women have, actually, in all the things that you've reported on and stories you've broken. What was the instinctive feeling that started you on this extraordinary journey as a child? What happened?
Yeah, do you know what? It's the first time I've been asked hundreds and thousands of questions. Yeah. Never been asked that one. So well done, Harriet. I think that's a really interesting point. Why do I do what I do? I do what I do because I'm passionate about it. I wake up every morning thinking, who else can I help? What else can I do? I try to shine a light in the darkest of corners, and I try to use my power, my contacts, my influence to help those.
But where does that come from, Mark? What was it as a little boy? Did you always want to go into the police force? What was the thing about this journey of helping, doing right? What is that about? Where did that come from? Do you remember that moment when you thought I want to be a police?
I mean, I went through school, became a school captain at my senior school, which I loved. So I love that position of being able, power, responsibility, but being able to use that to help people.
To make a difference.
Then I joined the police service. I mean, I took a decision I got offered an exchange to New Zealand to go and play rugby, because I used to play rugby quite good level. And I also at the same time got offered to join the police. And I decided I'll go and join the police because I needed a career. And actually, that's a really important point that I've carried on in life, is that I now regret that moment. And what I've carried on in the future is never to have any further regrets. So I will never make a decision again where I'm going to look back on it and go, if only I had done that. So I use that as a really important
But
point.
it's amazing because you also
Right.
segued then into journalism. So the instinct and it comes from the same core place. And was it the family around you? Was it
No, I think it's policing. I think it's policing. I think
right?
moving into the policing structure
Yeah,
where you have the ability to help people.
yeah.
I then took that to one level and then obviously continued to do that. So even though I'm not in the police now, you know, I'm passionate about helping people. I mean,
You've written a book, haven't you?
yeah, I've written a book, Hunting Killers, which looks in terms of the crimes that I've covered, as also some of those other cases which I've been involved in, either as a reporter or directly doing it. I mean, I help so many people. If I do it the wrong way because I help people. I help too many people. People often say to me, "You care too much," you know, and it's sad that actually there is a real position where you can actually care too much about people, and that's to your own detriment. And does it have an impact on me? Absolutely.
Mark, can I also segue into the fact that you then went into as a script advisor on drama docs, I'm assuming, and dramas like Walking to the Dead. But what that must have been an extraordinary thing for you, because then you're having to deal with actors, and you have to keep it real. You have to. What was your? I mean, did you find that a very different kind of world for you?
Totally. I mean, I left. So before I got into presenting programs and reporting and investigating programs, I went into script advising, and it was a very interesting twist. I left the police service, and World Productions, obviously we all know World now, massively successful, but in those days they hadn't done many programs, and they just got a commission from Channel 5 to do Murder Suppression Unit, which was like a 5-parter, I think, and they put an advert into this police magazine looking for a police advisor. So I thought, I'll apply to that. You know, I've worked in television, I'll give that a go. So I went and had a meeting with World up at their offices in Soho, and they were really keen, and they came back and said, look, we'd love to offer you the job within 24 hours of going up and seeing them. And I remember a moment sat at the dining room table thinking, what the hell have I just agreed to? I don't know what I'm doing. But it was a moment's thought. And actually, that is something that I always look at now. You know, I always want to push the boundaries. I want to push my boundaries.
Yeah.
I want to push the boundaries of what is seen on television, those constant challenges. And I loved it. You know, I think through any one period of time, probably for about 2.5 years, 3 years, I advised on every single crime drama there was on television.
Oh, Mark, I have to say that we all know you're a really brave person, because you must have been in some very scary situations. Have you ever felt really threatened? I mean, your mum was worried about you, we know, but was she justified in worrying about you?
Yeah, I mean, I think over the years, so during the police service, I got assaulted once, and so I've had some violence in that level. I think since leaving the police service and having done my work, so I've been sent child abuse material. Once when I exposed Jimmy Savile, someone sent me child abuse material saying, well, you think you can expose him? Why don't you try and find me? And he sent me pictures of him abusing a child. So that was horrific.
Did you find him?
Right, it was a really bad. So he sent me these pictures of him abusing a child and gave me an idea of how he'd done it. And the police had searched his address and said, the police were so stupid they didn't find this disc on it. And this.
Oh my God!
Oh no!
So I contacted the police, sent it to me and to my agent, in fact. So I contacted the police, and the police, I said, look, just get into my emails. You take it out of my emails. So they did. And they did some investigations. They tracked him down to an internet cafe in North London, but that internet cafe didn't have CCTV, so they weren't able to find him. So had that. I've been sent a petrol bomb. I got sent an incendiary device, which had it have gone off, it would have blown my hand off and probably done quite a bit of damage.
Did you know it was a bomb?
Yeah, because it was leaking. The fuel out of it was leaking, so that was sent to me.
Do you ever feel, oh God, this is awful, and do you get depressed, or do you think, no, come on, because I've got to keep fighting it? Does it take you back a bit?
I think it's a very interesting one. So I do suffer, and I have suffered particularly over the last 18 months with depression and anxiety. I've had a lot go on in my life, and I do some of that I think sometimes plays into the darkness world that I live in.
Yeah.
A very dark world. But actually, that is what keeps me going. You know, I love my work. I'm passionate about my work. I love helping people. And I'm very good at compartmentalizing the horrific nature of some of the things that I do. I mean, I have dealt with the worst possible things you can imagine. I mean, if you imagine it and then think 10 times worse than that, I've seen it.
Oh dear.
You know,
Yeah.
I've seen death, I've seen abuse, I've seen the most degrading elements of humanity. So I think it does have an impact on you. I think one has to be really careful how you manage that.
Yeah.
I exercise is really important to me.
I was going to say, we said that
So
actually earlier.
we were just talking
Yeah.
about that, Mark, just before you came on. So
Yes.
what's your, on an up note, what are you doing to keep yourself fit in this new lockdown?
Well, I go to the gym every day, apart from the fact that the idiots have now decided we can't
Close. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's really difficult. So I go for walks, and
Good.
I mean, and a few bit of lifting paint tins and things like that, a few bit of exercises. But it's hard. I think it's really hard, and I think last 24 hours, the reality of going back into a lockdown again is horrible.
Oh, I know.
On one level, I mean, I've just been commissioned for 2 programs, 2 primetime TV programs for crime. And so we're just literally starting that. And I've got another really big access program, which we're hoping to get off with a big broadcaster. So I've got lots and lots of things happening. So that's really good.
I must admit,
I'd love to be busy.
you have
Wonderful.
worked on the most extraordinary stories. I mean, the Jill Dando thing, which will always remain in me, because that's never been proved, have it like nothing on it at all. That must have been extraordinary to work on that.
Yeah, I mean, I gained access to every single piece of paper, and you could see how the police had gone after Barry George, who
Yes.
really strange guy. Yeah, absolutely, no doubt about that. And of course, he'd come into trouble with his situations with women. But did he kill Jill Dando, which was the question around the investigating officers? Absolutely not. They went after him. They then set to frame him. Very, very sad. And as a result of that, the killer is still at large. And this is the point of the thing. Some are very often seen investigating officers. And if you read my book, or if you don't like reading, you can listen to it on audiobook. So you've got
So we'll put it on the bump of the show, Mark. We'll put your book on the bump. Yeah.
You can listen to it on audiobooks, and then you can fall asleep listening to me.
I don't think we'd fall asleep listening to your book.
Thank you so much for coming in, Mark. It's been so lovely talking
No,
to
it's
you.
brilliant. It's great talking to you. I wish you all well.
Thank you.
And
you too.
Thank you very much.
Bye, darling.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye. Bye.
Oh, extraordinary man. I mean, just breathtaking journey he's had. And so
brave.
wonderful to hear him talk about his own vulnerability, his depression, his anxiety.
Yes.
Because people, especially men, don't always do that. It was
No, they don't. No. And he really supports women too, which is fantastic.
Yes,
really
we need a man in our corner.
Yeah, we do.
We do. So girls, we've got to talk about our wonderful competition. We have the most amazing prizes that we've ever given away.
You can see it actually on the comments below the video.
And it is Jai Tea Wines with Stories.
Yeah, a wonderful, fantastic facial from Tracy, which is a laser facial, but it's infused with lovely minerals and vitamins. Fantastic. Then, of course, Sherry, your friend, and our friend, Andrew Barton.
Yes, he's going to do a cut and blow dry, and believe me, it's one you will never forget.
And
and the derma wand.
Yeah, I mean, it could not be a better lockdown pampering package.
And it's worth £2,000. So check it out.
£2,000.
I've entered 20 times already.
And it's sheer indulgence, guys. It really
and
is.
guys, tomorrow we've got Richard Arnold. We're guising, and I know not all of us understand that because he made.
I don't understand a word they're talking about, everybody.
Well, that's the joy of tomorrow, Saturday morning, 10 a.m. We'll see you there.
Yeah.
See you there. Bye.